Fast food is bad for you. Of that, there is simply no debate. But today, I want to talk to you about the fast food of the fabric world, the synthetics. They're made cheaply, often with harsh chemicals, and can have really negative effects on our health, including everything from cancer to reproductive issues to asthma and more. Join me today as I start to detox our home. The idea that the foods we eat and the medicines we take can have an impact on our body is a really easy concept to grasp. But what's more difficult is the idea that the fabrics we're wearing can also have a similar impact on our bodies. What I found when I started doing research on the chemicals actually involved in the manufacturing of clothes was that some of the very things I'm trying to avoid in my kitchen are present in clothes, like BPA, PFOAs, formaldehyde, and other PFCs that have a negative impact on health, including cancer, reproductive issues, thyroid disease, skin irritation, asthma, and more. Every time I talk to somebody new about the idea of detoxing their kitchen or even starting anywhere in their home, I always liken it to how an onion is formed. It's one layer at a time. And while we've mastered some of the basics, now it's time for my family to move on to fabrics. The jumping off point for this layer of detox in our home is sheets. I started there because we spend a third of our day, which is a third of our life, in bed, often with our faces in a pillow or with sheets and blankets up close to our faces. For the bed that my husband and I share, we went with linen, and for the kids, organic cotton. We also took a look at the undergarment tags and moved the kids to all cotton underwear, and I'll touch more on that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk to you about our linen sheets. I have to tell you, I was super nervous about this. I'm super picky about bedding. I like something super silky and soft, but the ones I had did not meet my new requirements for material. So the linen have a little bit different directions when it comes to washing. The directions said to wash them in cold, but if at all possible, to fill up the drum with water, add the soap, and that way the soap would be able to dilute in the water before adding the sheets. That's exactly what I did in order to take the best care of the sheets themselves. They also have a tag that says to line dry if possible, and if you have to dry in the dryer, as low heat as you can. Luckily for me, my dryer has a no heat setting. Although I will say this does take quite some time, so I did end up taking them out and hanging them up to finish drying overnight while I went ahead and completed the washing of the kids' new sheets. Now for them, I went with an organic cotton, which I was able to find at an amazing deal. I'll make sure to link everything down below. But I got these sheets, I think they were like right around $35 per set, for 100% organic cotton sheets for all the kids' beds, which I considered a complete win considering how expensive sheets can be these days. While we did replace their sheets, we have not replaced all of their comforters yet. The boys decided to go ahead and move to all cotton blankets, which we already had on hand, but the girls wanted to keep their top quilts, which I will say are beautiful. We really love them, but after looking at the tags, they still do contain some polyester. Our goal is to move toward better choices, and since we currently don't have a replacement, we went ahead and just moved on with replacing their sheets. Down the road, we'll move forward just like everything else, slowly continuing to remove more and more as time goes on. But anytime you're taking on a detox, whether it's kitchen electrics, kitchen supplies, or medicine, it's best financially, I should say, to not do it all at one time. Do better every day, make a better purchase every time, and then eventually you'll get to where you're in love with everything that you have in your kitchen, in your home, or anywhere else. My goal is to be more conscious when I'm looking at the labels of everything that's coming into our home from this point forward. So when it's time to get the girls something new, which is usually birthdays or holidays, with something that they love that will meet the new requirements. In addition, I am taking these off at night, so it's really just more of an aesthetic at this point, and that will prevent anything from the polyester from being close up to their face. So kind of a win-win there. They get their pretty blankets, but we're not actually putting those up around the face anymore at night. I will say that when I first approached this topic with my kids, I was amazed at how interested they were in checking tags and making sure that the clothes that they were putting on or the blankets that they loved were going to be safe for them to use. They weren't disheartened and they weren't necessarily sad, but they were willing to do whatever it took and understand the purpose behind what we're doing. I find that in most cases, anytime you can get their buy-in, you're going to be a lot better off. The next stop in detoxing synthetic fibers from the house was clothes, of course. I'm starting with my own, but I have let the kids pick and choose on what they've decided to do, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. For myself, anything 100% polyester is completely gone. There weren't a lot of those things, but there definitely were some. Everything that I purchased recently has been linen or cotton. That's just what I've been drawn to lately, so that has made this a little bit easier for me. I also love the idea of a capsule wardrobe and like to keep my clothes pretty minimal, but this was just the best way to go through and edit that I have ever come across. It either meets my standard of natural fibers or it doesn't. On top of using fibers as a way to purge, another thing that I did was take a look at a couple items that I had negative emotions attached to and pulled them out as well. I think often we discount the energy that we have tied up in specific emotions related to seeing something as simple as an item of clothing or maybe some little keepsake that we kept from a time that was difficult in our lives. And being reminded of that on a daily basis when you wake up in the morning and you're getting dressed isn't something that I find beneficial to my life anymore. At one point, I was in the hospital for almost a month with one of my kiddos, and it was a really rough time. And it took me a couple months after I came home to realize that a particular sweatshirt, a particular pair of sweatpants, and a particular pair of socks were sending me emotionally to a place that I didn't want to go every time I would run across them in my wardrobe. I kept them for a while because they were nice items. The quality was high, and I loved them at the time I got them. But the truth is, it was great for me and a huge release to give those items to somebody else and let them be a blessing instead of something that I looked at on a frequent basis that I allowed to impact my mood every single day. We aren't in those positions anymore, and letting something like an article of clothing bring me back to that place isn't something I'm willing to do anymore. As you see me going through my closet, you will notice I'm skipping over my jeans completely. In the recent months, I had gotten rid of all of the jeans that I used to have, which were mainly Maurice's because I liked the price and they seemed to fit well. But they also had a lot of elastic in them, and I was noticing some wear and just a really weird, almost like a wavy pattern in the denim itself after I had had them for a while. And I went to a Levi's, and the Levi's that I've been selecting are 100% cotton, although not all of them are. I was able to get some amazing deals on Facebook Marketplace, actually, as well as a pair at a local resale shop that still had the tags on for a huge discount. So when you're seeing me pull items out, just know that you can always look for deals, and usually you can find what you're looking for a fraction of the retail cost. The dress that I'm looking at now is a rayon dress. Now, rayon itself is derived from natural fibers, but there are synthetics and chemicals used in the manufacturing process. That's kind of a half and half for me. They call it semi-synthetic. It's going to stay for now, but quite honestly, I've worn it maybe 3 times in the last year. I should have pulled it out, but at this point, it's still in. It's really something that as you begin to purge, one thing will come or go, or you'll decide something stays and then later wonder why you did. But that's just the process and how it goes for me. For the most part, I don't ever look back with regret on something that I've gotten rid of. The only regret I have is that I didn't throw away more, or I should say donate more the first initial round, because then I'm just looking at the same pieces, debating them time and time again when I knew they should have went. The next thing I want to talk about is athletic clothing. Now, this is a big one for me. I used to teach classes at a local gym, and I had a pretty considerable stash. But I went ahead and I got rid of all of the brand name high-end leggings, and I'm keeping some cotton. That's it. The ones you saw there are like vintage Lululemon cotton. And then I have a few pairs that I picked up from Pact last year during a Christmas, or I think it was a Black Friday sale. They are made of organic cotton with just a little bit of elastane in them. And that's about as good as you're going to get when we're talking about a legging or any kind of workout clothes. I do also have, when it comes to shirts, some merino wool shirts that are really, really thin. I think they're Adidas, and they are amazing for working out in. They don't ride up, they stay in place, and they are super breathable. So that's something to look out for if you're looking for a more natural workout option. Here you can see I'm checking my favorite, I always call it my mom uniform for the winter. These cardigans are something that I have in several different colors. And to my absolute delight, 100% cotton. That is a purchase that I made probably almost a decade ago at this point, and I have worn them year after year on repeat. This one I just got last year, and it is definitely not going to suffer the same fate. It's going straight into the donation bin because it is definitely synthetic. Now, I do want to touch back on something that I mentioned up at the top, which was moving the kids to cotton underwear. There are a few drawers here of my own I'm not going to go into, but I did want to discuss this topic because it is super important for the future of our kids. There is research that shows that synthetics in undergarments are really bad, in particular for boys, because they get super hot, and that area is just impacted by the petroleum and other toxins that are in those undergarments themselves. I don't want my little guys from a young age wearing something that could impact the future of their family moving forward as adults. I also don't want that for my girls. There are studies that show impact there as well. It's just not worth it to have those concerns and be worried when I'm helping them get dressed. Now, every time I approach some topic of this sort, I get a lot of comments about how it's easy for people to do that are affluent or have means to do so. I'm not going to pretend like my family doesn't have the money to purchase new underwear for my kiddos or something of that sort. But I do want to impress upon you that you can do many of these things on budgets, that you can find cotton sheets, even if not organic. There's still a huge step forward from anything you're going to find polyester. And you can purge your wardrobe down to things that are going to be healthy for you and for your kiddos without breaking the bank. More on that journey in a minute, but I want to talk to you about something else that I can't leave off the table when talking about toxins in fabrics. The chemicals in our detergents and fabric softeners, according to the Environmental Working Group, are known to disrupt the endocrine system and induce asthma. I know we all like things to smell good, but the truth is, clean does not smell. This took me a long time to adjust to. I am a reformed lover of vanilla lavender that lasted for months, but natural smells never last that long. So if you're getting a fragrance that's guaranteed to last for a month on your clothes, that's absolutely a chemically made process that is not good for your body itself. I personally love a brand called Puracy, not only because it's clean, but also because it's a tiny bottle that uses a tiny amount of soap. Now, the next thing that we decided to switch out are all of the crazy blankets that we get given for different times. We had a Spider-Man blanket, and we had a floral star blanket, and all sorts of blankets that were made from polyester. We switched those over to the organic gauze type material that you just saw. They are super soft and comfy, and so far, everybody's loving them. Now, the day after I purged all my clothes, there was a garage sale up the road from a lady in town absolutely known for having really good taste and not liking to return items that she's purchased and doesn't like. So my kiddos love to go up there. They play with her grandkids, and I took advantage and got a few things that met my new criteria. So this is how I like to refresh my wardrobe. I actually got one of my favorite dresses from her last year that you've seen in many of my videos. And now I was able to go in with my new requirements and only look at her all cotton or linen or natural blend items and pick up a ton of things at a huge discount. I have to say I was actually quite shocked. It made my shopping a lot easier, but the items that you're seeing here come in everything $5 or under. and most of the items were $2. So I was able to replace so many items that I got rid of with natural fiber options that are going to fit my new choices and also be super comfortable. I also grabbed those leather Free People shoes that you see over there. My girls thought they would be great for church, and the lady who had them only wore them a couple times before deciding they didn't fit her feet. They're $198 online, and I got them for $20. Now, $20 for me at a garage sale is a lot, especially when I'm looking at the other items there. I paid $2 for all of these shirts and $3 or $4 for some of the dresses. But when I can save that much money and get something that is a high quality item, I can go for it on occasion. This is a once a year thing, the only garage sale we get up and go to, but it pays off every single time. All of this to say, I'm confident that you don't live close to me, one, or two, that you might not have something similar. But what you can do is look for neighborhoods that are known for having good quality garage sales, scope them out, and then revisit those year after year, or even ask them, is this something that you do annually? How often do you do this? Because if you can find somebody like I have right here that wears your size, loves the same types of items that you love, and gets rid of them frequently, it is a true gold mine and a huge savings nonetheless. What you're seeing there is a shower curtain. I haven't put it up yet, but it's all cotton as well. So I'm just looking for ways where I can replace items that are in my house at the most inexpensive way possible and still move down the road toward items that I love and fit our style. One thing I will say, if you're going to shop sales, is occasionally you'll purchase an item that you might not end up loving once you try it on. One key to help prevent that is to measure yourself, know your measurements, and then take a flat tape with you to measure the items in front of you to make sure that they will fit. Know all the sizes for all of your family members. I always try to keep those in my phone, and that will help to avoid some relatively inexpensive but still annoying mistakes as you go. If you're more of an online shopper, I love looking at shops like thredUp. If you've never used them before, it's basically an online resale shop. They have all of the items listed. You can search by brand, by size, what specific item you're looking for. And that takes the hunt for a good local resale shop out of the way, and it means you won't have to be searching through garage sales. If you're new to thredUp, I'll make sure to put my link down below. I do believe currently you'll get a 45% discount and free shipping, but those offers always change. So make sure to check that link and see what's available at the current time. All 3 bags that you see here will go to a local Christian donation center that we have that serves our local communities. This is something that I love to do. I do know that on occasion I could get some money out of specific items, but for me, if the value is not going to be $20 or more, I don't want to take the time to meet up with somebody to host the garage sale or anything else when I have everything going on at home with my kids. So if you're purging, I would encourage you to set a limit and figure out what works best for your family. If you're interested in other steps we've taken over the past decade to detoxify our home, make sure to drop a comment below. I'm super picky about what comes into my house, and if you're curious, I'd love to share more with you about this journey. Next week, I'll be back in the kitchen with some summer meals. But for now, enjoy this playlist until our next upload.